Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos, coming to you on a Thursday, and of course, hoping you're doing well. Very pleasant day out there today. In fact, the cold front coming in from the Gulf of Mexico has really provided a very nice weather. And of course, if you're going to do any outdoor activities, I'd recommend for the noonday, before noonday hours. I tell you, it got hot yesterday. I mean, downright hot. Need my TV going on, Steve. Of course, we've got a lot going on in our community this weekend. We've got T-Day football coming to you on Saturday morning at 12 noon. And then here's our call, first call of the day coming in. You're on Today in LA. Good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
Mike Amos calling in from the beautiful shores of the Gulf of Mexico. Is that right?
Yeah, had a good time down here this week and great. And family got down here on Saturday and got to see a lot of friends and do a lot of fun things, eat a lot of good food as always. We cooked out last night. I grilled shrimp and
You grilled shrimp.
had a bunch of friends come over last night, so that was fun.
Have you ever grilled shrimp before?
Yeah, I've grilled shrimp before.
I've never grilled shrimp in my life.
Yeah, well, you put them on skewers, kind of like a little shish kebab. Makes it a little bit easier not to fall into the grill.
Of course, whether
Continues their amazing midweek play.
Yeah.
8 straight midweek games, which is
it's got to be a record for Troy, I would think.
I'm really proud of Coach Smart. I mean, taking these midweek games more seriously, and he sweeps Alabama State. It's just amazing.
He swept Sanford, and Sanford's won what, 13, 14 straight?
Yeah, the problem is now it's conference. You know, that's where they're struggling. They're only 8-7 in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So big trip to Jonesboro to play Arkansas State this weekend. They need to go up there and at least get 2 out of 3.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, we've got a big Hall of Fame weekend this weekend. The Hall of Fame induction ceremonies at 6:30, and I think the actual induction start around 7 o'clock from the Trojan Arena. You know, have you ever been to one of those, Mike?
You know, it's hard to believe, but I don't think I have. I mean, I'm you know, probably been to everything at Troy University except that, but I don't know. My schedule just never worked out where I could go to it.
Well, it's an outstanding event, and of course, there's still some tickets available by calling Troy University Athletic Department, and of course, some of the people that are going to be going in, you will recognize some of these names. One of them, of course, leads no introduction. Wendell Stevens goes in baseball. Of course, a great one. What a great player he was. And Bob Lambert in track. Ben Bates in golf. Of course, Ben, a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Ben Bates played on the senior tour for a little while.
Yeah, he did. He sure did. And the Web.com tour also. Bobby Pierce in baseball. Steve Venable in track. And the sad thing about that is that Steve was killed in a very unreal. He was working on his car, and something went wrong, and it actually killed him. And he won't be here, but he'll be here in spirit, no question about it. I don't know who'll receive this induction or who will actually represent him. I don't know who that'll be, but he was a great player, a All-American, and in track.
Yeah,
and
going back to Bobby Pierce, you know, that's got to be tough for Coach Smart and the team to be on the road. I'm sure a lot of those coaches would like to be there for Coach Pierce going into the Hall of Fame, but they won't be able to because they'll be on the road.
That's right.
It seemed like they could have timed a home series that weekend. That's sad.
Yeah, that's right. No question about it. That I'm sure they would have loved to have been here and to celebrate this with Coach Pierce. And also want to mention a few other people. Mandy Armstrong from women's basketball, and also Chuck Ash, who was a long-time trainer here at Troy. I reckon Chuck's been here about as long as anybody, and he went through a lot of different coaching changes, and knew them all. And of course, will go down as one of the great trainers of all time.
Blakeney was here for 24 years, and Macy was here for 31, 32 years. So as far as those guys, it was pretty.
Yeah, that's right. You're exactly.
Pretty the same group of people, really.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. No question about it. We're going to try to call in and talk to him this morning. Also, we got to call in.
I'm sure he has me a story he could tell.
Yeah. Well, no question about it, and how times have changed too. Tremendously. Times have changed in sports medicine and the way football is played.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Blakeney will probably be down this weekend. So I'm sure a lot of people will be glad to see him. Of course, spring football game, you want to see these quarterbacks and see how Sawyer Smith does and see how Caleb Barker does. I'm just hoping and praying nobody gets hurt in the spring game. That's one thing you definitely don't want to happen if somebody get injured.
What's the deal at Alabama? In fact, you were offered some opportunities to go to the A-Day, and you could have eaten there. Friend of yours called and offered that to you, and I told him that you were not in town and probably would not be back.
Yeah, well, I could have gone to the scrimmage on Saturday. I got to watch some practice in Shells on Friday before I left Tuscaloosa. But, they're holding Tua out right now due to his injuries. I think he's going to probably not play in the spring game, is what they're saying. So,
is it a good
thing. They don't need to re-aggravate anything.
Is it the same hand that was hurt before?
Quarterback, yeah, if it's quarterback competition, I mean, whoever the starter will be, they'll figure it out, come fall.
Yeah. Want to congratulate.
I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if Tua's not the quarterback though when they line up against Louisville.
Yeah. Yeah, no question about it. Want to mention a few other things going on here. Of course, we're a week away from Troy Fest, the big, considered one of the big days of the year for the city of Troy and Pike County, and that arts festival will start this next Friday night week, and we're excited about that. I want to congratulate my good friend Michael Orosky, professor of English and director of the Troy University Creative Writing Program, received the Ingalls Award. So congratulations to him. And I'm sure that check that he gets will be something that he'll appreciate. Michael Orlowski, professor of English and director of Troy University's Creative Writing Program, is the recipient of the 2018 Ingalls Award, which goes to for excellence in classroom teaching and long time.
How long he's been there? That name sounds familiar. I wonder if I had him.
Well, I don't know. You might have.
Has he been at Troy a long time?
Yeah, he's been at Troy since 2003, I want to say, and.
No, I guess I wasn't there when he was around.
He's a big sports fan. He's actually holds a degree from Jacksonville State, and then a master's in English degree from Penn State, and so that's quite an award to receive if you're on the faculty at Troy. I want to mention also we've got baseball action going on. Pike Liberal Arts will be hosting a baseball tournament today. I think there's 3 or 4 teams in it, and they're getting ready for the state playoffs. And also Charles Henderson, Mike's gearing up for guess who? St. Paul. They're playing St. Paul in baseball.
They're tribal now, we guess.
No, well, actually, St. Paul comes to Troy, so that's going to be should be a good game.
So this is a state.
Yeah, first round.
It's already started.
Yeah, that's right. First round of the state playoffs, and of course, Charles Henderson ended the season 11-20, but they started off 0-9. So, and then they switched coaches. Matt Whitten is now the new coach at Charles Henderson, and also the Goshen Eagles knocked off rival Zion Chapel 14-2 on Tuesday in Jack, Alabama, and of course, good pitchers here in the.
Was that a playoff game too?
No, yeah, that was just a regular season game, I think. Kate Warwick was one of the leaders for the Goshen Eagles, and Brooke Bennett both hit home runs in that game.
So this is softball.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Max Howell going to call in today, and also Wendell Stevens, Mike, is going to call in. I'm looking forward to that interview. And want to mention, of course, T-Day is Saturday morning at noon, and it should be a lot of fun to watch these two quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Of course, Troy lost a lot of really good players off last year's squad, but have a lot of really good guys coming back. Of course, running back's going to be a battle, with Chun and Josh Anderson. I never thought Anderson would have been the player he was. Turned out Josh Anderson was pretty good.
Oh, real good. You know what? You're exactly right. He was real good and probably did not get as much applause as he should have.
And then you got Jameer Fry, who hopefully will be back after his knee injury. Kind of kept him out all last year. Maybe he'll be back to 100%, which would be another really good player to have back. And then, wide receiver-wise, you lost McCormick, who was a really good player. You lost John Johnson from Charles Henderson, who was a good player.
Well, I hated that they didn't redshirt Johnson. I think he had his better years were ahead of him, don't you think?
Yeah, and then Troy's probably most clutch receiver and called a lot of big passes in big games. Emmanuel Thompson is now gone. And then on defense, you had Andre Flakes. He really played well last year on defense, and several other guys that won't be there on defense this year as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Weatherspoon, great safety, is gone now. So it'll be interesting to see how Troy looks.
No question about it. And also,
I think there's a lot of injuries, though, to be honest with you. I think a lot of guys had surgery in the offseason. A lot of starters will not be playing. So the guys you see out there might not necessarily be the guys you see against Boise State.
All conference players that return: Hunter Reese returns at linebacker, Blaze Brown in the secondary, Tron Folsom, Trevon Sanders, and Sendarius
Folsom is really good. He's number 29. He makes a lot of tackles.
And Rookard, Sendarius Rookard. They've got real good players in the secondary, and I think that could be one of the keys to why they have improved so much over the last 2 or 3 years. They've gotten better athletes in the secondary. What do you think?
Well, Rookard, if anybody remembers the LSU game, he's the reason Troy started off, so hot.
He made that tackle, didn't
he? Huge tackle that caused the fumble. So he's been a great player for years.
Yeah.
But, I just don't think Troy fans or our football fans have any clue about what it's like to have Dick Coney as your defense coordinator at a Sun Belt school like Troy. This guy's been everywhere.
Oh,
He's been successful everywhere. How Neil Brown has kept him on his staff is just unbelievable.
Yeah. No question about it.
He's a big-time defense coach. And if you look at Troy's numbers, they've been the top defense in the Sun Belt the past 2 years.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
Want to mention Troy's offense did anything against Boise last year. I think they had 130 yards of offense.
Yeah, terrible.
If they're just like in the 250s, probably they win that game. Because I don't know if you remember, but it was 10-10 in the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, no question about it. Want to mention also Saturday morning Future Trojans youth football camp, from ages 4 through 12, from 10 to 11 prior to the game Saturday. So if you got a young son that wants to come out and go to this football camp, it's free to all children ages 4 to 12. Then at 11 o'clock, football letter winners cookout in the tailgate area, and hopefully we'll have a big crowd there. And then, of course, the T-Day game, free admission. Pick your seats also for the 2018 season, including the Northeast end zone. And, Mike, I like that new end zone. It's going to be real nice. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you look more, not that we're not Division I, but more of a bigger atmosphere for a Division I program to have the stadium, basically filled in now, where it's enclosed and should be a lot louder. I mean, I know it's not going to add a ton of seats. It's going to add like a lot of extra boxes and stuff like that for some of your boosters, and there'll be a few seats available, to add to the overall. I guess overall Troy would probably be like 31,000 now, so 30,000 maybe.
That's right. Of course, it's
one of those things that just looks really nice. It looks really impressive, and plus, the team will now run out of the new end zone onto the field, which I like a lot too.
Oh yeah, no question.
I did realize how they closed in off the old, Tom Davis Fieldhouse, though, so everything's connected. So actually,
at first they said they weren't going to do that, and now they did, and I'm glad they did. It is totally connected.
See the visiting team come off the street. They'll actually go through there and come out the other side as well. So I think that's a good thing.
No question about it. And they do things, with the columns and the all those, what do you call those things they put on top of the buildings? All of that, it's really first class, no question about it, and I'm excited about it.
It's one of those things where, Troy has a lot to be proud of. I think as far as football goes, that's probably about as big as we'll probably need to get, I would think. And then, on down the road, I think the next move for football would be you got to have some kind of indoor facility for these guys. So I would think that would be the next project on down the road, is try to build some kind of practice bubble where they can get in, do the, inclement.
Well, right now there's a rule: if there's lightning within something like 8 or 10 miles from the practice field, they have to shut down. Until
Troy's definitely got the room and all the extra practice fields. They could easily put some little 50-yard bubble, just to have something to get the team in there.
Yeah. I think that'll be one of the next stops. Of course, right now they're building
kind of hard to believe Charles Henderson has an indoor facility and Troy University doesn't.
Now, also, I want to mention, the Wellness Center is under construction at the top of the hill, and that's going to be a huge boost for Troy. Gives the students more things to do. They're going to have indoor basketball courts and indoor swimming. They're going to have all kinds of weight room, indoor and outdoor walking tracks.
I know at Alabama, like they always talk about the pools and outdoor pools. Like as far as the university students are just packed, so it's like a big area for just like people to meet and hang out. And stuff.
They're going to even have a restaurant in there. They're going to have a restaurant and serving health foods, and
that's great for
indoor
Troy.
track, and I think it's going to be open for membership from the public. I think what's
going to happen with all that parking that goes away right there?
I don't know, but the thing I wish they would do, I wish they would find a way to keep Sartain Hall. That's still a nice facility. That Sartain Hall. A lot of schools would love to have a basketball arena like that.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why they couldn't gut it out, maybe, and just keep the actual structure of the building up.
Well, they say that they're going to go ahead and take it down, but I think the more they look at it, the more they might think about it. Hopefully they will.
Well, it's definitely going to be sad for long Troy fans like us. People that have been attending games, and it's definitely going to be weird for it not to be there.
Yeah, no
like
question.
I said the other day, whoever would have thought Wright Hall would make it, Sartain would.
Yeah. No question about it.
Like in Tuscaloosa, Foster's Auditorium's still up.
Yeah, I know it.
They gutted it out from inside and did all kinds of renovations, and they still play sporting events there.
Mike, Alabama was going to hire former Ole Miss coach and
co-offensive coordinator. How crazy was that?
And you know, well, and you know, it wouldn't have bothered me, and the SEC director jumped in and said, "No, you can't hire this guy."
Yeah, it makes you think that he might have lied and did something to make the commissioner unhappy about when all that was going on.
But he had put a stop to it. They were going to hire.
That they couldn't hire him.
Yeah, they were going to hire former Ole Miss coach.
You know, Greg Sankey, goes way back with Johnny Williams. Sankey used to be.
Oh yeah, I know Sankey myself personally. I've been out to eat with him numerous times, and you're right. He was former Sun Belt Conference or
no, he was Southland Conference.
Yeah, Southland Conference head, and now he's the SEC.
1AA, yeah.
Yeah, and of course the topic is Mike, the former Ole Miss coach, was wanting a job at Alabama. Is that right? Tell us the story.
Well, I mean, it's just several schools. Missouri wanted him, and I think Tennessee wanted him. But basically, he interviewed at Alabama with Saban, and Saban wanted to hire him. And it was approved by everybody except the SEC.
And evidently, he burned some bridges that a lot of people don't know about. Is that right?
Well, I mean, he had some issues off the field, which is between him and his family and his wife, I guess. He definitely didn't do things the right way, and of course his program got put on probation, and NCAA came in and took away 2 bowl seasons, and also took away scholarships and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's one of those type things. He'll definitely be coaching here in the next few years. It's probably just one of those type things that it probably won't be in the SEC.
And of course,
I mean, what does Troy University do if Neil Brown, which everybody thinks is going to get a big time coaching job? Probably, next year, if he has another, went 10-3, went 11-2, if he goes, even if he went probably 9-4 or 8-5, he'd probably have a chance. I mean, he's just, one of the brightest names in coaching right now. I mean, what if Hugh Freeze, interviewed for the Troy job? I don't know what would happen.
I don't know. And before all of this happened with him, I would have thought he was was a real clean-cut guy that played by the rules. I would have thought that.
Well, I mean, he's a real spiritual guy. I mean, he quotes scripture and everybody thought he was that guy, but it turns out that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Of course, we got a lot of.
I mean, I'll say this: he beat Alabama 2 years in a row.
He sure did.
By anybody. So
he sure did.
I know he had some illegal recruits that did it.
Everybody was wondering how in the world did Ole Miss get those players. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I mean, especially
how could Alabama go after these guys and not get a one, and Ole Miss got every one of them?
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, Troy beat.
There's a new rule that I think a lot of coaches will like that's about to get passed. It's players coming out of high school now, if they can play up to 4 games and still get redshirted. Is a new rule the NCAA is about to pass. And
boy, that would be
if you get to play in 4 games and then get a red shirt, that's pretty great experience. Going into that next season.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a great rule if they can pass it.
How about this new kickoff rule? Can you believe that? It looks like they're gonna pass it, where you can fair catch a kick inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that takes away one of the most exciting plays in football, but I guess there are just too many injuries.
I hate it too, but and if you fair catch it.
Look 3 years ago when Alabama won the national championship against Clemson. Drake takes it, 102 yards for a touchdown on a kickoff.
Yeah. Late
in the game.
Well, and another thing, while we're on Drake, is he done pretty well in the pros?
Yeah, he's starting running back for the Dolphins right now.
Oh, is he? I was wondering. I didn't know. Well, but what we're talking about on kickoffs now, and what you're going to do, you're going to see a lot of these, what do you call those, pooch kicks?
Yeah.
And what they can do, they can signal for a fair catch inside the 20-yard line, and after they do so, they'll put the ball at the 25-yard line. It's defeating But now
you're almost to the point where other than onside kicks, you're almost to the point where you just want to make a rule where everybody starts at the 25.
Well, and in a way, it's going to probably do away with the pooch kick because I think that might be what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can see is that it's just one of those type of things. It's just too many injuries, I guess, and they can't do it anymore as far as kids getting hurt.
Troy University beat Alabama State last night 10-2, and their record now is 25-12. Mike, how many do you think Troy's going to have to win? 40 games to get in the tournament, or what?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to be in the high 30s at least. I think you can get to 38 wins.
Yeah.
I think you would have a really good chance to maybe get in the postseason play. But I think 40 is a guaranteed lock.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, Troy has won 8 straight midweek games since dropping their first of the season, outscoring the in-state rivals. Listen to this, 68-28. They outscored the in-state rivals in the last 6 games and swept the series with the Hornets. Of course, Rigsby Mosley, a young man who is getting better and better for him, went 3 for 4 with a home run and a triple. And guess who? Joey Dennison knocked in 2 more runs. And then he has 47 RBIs with 25 games left to play, Mike. That's quite something, isn't it?
I tell you what's been really surprising on this team is that Brody Bender kid, the kid out of Chattanooga, has been carrying the cover off the ball too.
Yeah.
He's played really well, and then the Sanders kid and the Frederick kid have been lights out all year.
Yeah. Troy.
And you got to admit, coming into the season, I mean, everybody thought Chase Smart would have a breakout year, and Chase has been injured and still having a tough time.
He's still so good defensively. You got to keep him in the lineup, and he's getting better.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, it's his junior year now. It's gonna be crazy to know that's gonna be Chase's senior year next year.
Of course, they're 3 or 4. This is a good Troy team, and with Lockridge and Sanders and Dennison, really being who.
Frederick.
Yeah, Frederick are really having great years, and all of them can run so well. In fact, last night, Sanders and Dennison both had triples. That's 19 triples on the year for Troy. One more, and well, that's right. One more, and we've got a school record and a conference record, I think. But that's amazing. They tied the school's single season record at 19, and there's 25 games left. So I think they ought to break it, don't you think?
Yeah, Troy's got 25 games left, and that's when it counts the tournament. I mean, I think Troy probably will get close to. I mean, shoot, if you went 15-10, you get the 41s.
Yeah. Mike, how are the Braves doing? They beat the Phillies last night 7-3. And
the Braves are doing pretty well. I think the Braves are 10-7. I think.
Yeah, they're 3 games out from New York in the East, and which with a 10-7 record. You're right about that. And
they're definitely playing a lot better than I thought they would.
They'll be playing today at home against the Mets.
I got a friend from Atlanta. I work with in Birmingham, and he's a big Braves fan. And over/under in Vegas was 75. Wins. It looks like they're going to do a little bit better than that.
Yeah. And they play at home against the Mets. That's a good series. Well, I don't know if that's a series or not, but is that the last game of the series tonight against the Mets?
Usually the last games are on Thursday,
Yeah. Okay, we've got also girls softball state playoffs are starting, boys baseball starting, and a lot of our local teams are in the playoffs.
I've got a bunch of coaches texting and calling me, and spring football is about to start up for a lot of schools too. So
and
everybody's needing stuff.
Oh yeah, well that's great. And Zion Chapel plays at St. Luke's. GW Long plays at Reeltown. Horseshoe Bend plays at Arrington. Boy, Arrington's sports program's really gotten good, Mike.
Goshen, they got a lot of good coaches.
Goshen at Keith. At Meadowview Christian Selma. This right here is baseball. Red Levels playing at Houston County. Most every team in our area, Kinston playing at Pleasant Home. And then the Alabama Independent Schools, Pike Liberal got a bye because they're 27 or 28-4. They've got a great team, and they're going to play sort of some exhibition games that will count toward the schedule, but they're going to pick up a few games before the tournament starts. And Abbeville's also in that tournament, and it's gonna be a real good tournament, no question about it. As we look at it, we've got softball, a big tournament coming up later on in the month, Mike. It's a regional tournament that's going to have 45 teams in it coming to Troy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No question about it.
Yeah,
just think how many people that'll bring.
Like, where does everybody stay?
Yeah, where does everybody eat and all that. LeBron got 46 last night, Mike.
Yeah, they even the series 1-1. Yeah, I was reading Greg Popovich, the legendary coach from the Spurs. His wife died yesterday, so that's going to be tough for that franchise and Popovich, I guess, coaching throughout the rest of the playoffs. I don't know how that will work.
Yeah, that's sad. On a local note, we lost Dr. Wood, who a long-time doctor here in Troy, lost his battle with cancer, and our prayers and our thoughts go out to him and his family.
And he was a young guy, wasn't
he? Oh, yeah, he was a young guy. Great athlete, Mike, at Dixie Academy. Played quarterback and played outstanding.
That's horrible to hear.
Outstanding baseball and basketball player. But of course, a great doctor. Everybody loved him. He was the hospitalist. He was the hospital's doctor. And a guy, great guy. And it's so sad to hear about it. And of course, he had young children, and the Lord's going to take care of everything, and I'm sure with our prayers and our help, they'll be.
Yeah, I remember following that on Facebook, so I hate to hear that.
Yeah, and he's quite a guy, and this community is going to miss him, and he'll always be in our hearts, and we'll. Definitely be thinking about his family during this time of sorrow. Remember, the Hall of Fame banquet is at 7 o'clock Saturday night. And there's still, I think, a few tickets available. Now, this is a hard ticket now. And so you need to call in to Alumni Affairs, or not Alumni Affairs, call into the athletic department this morning and buy your tickets to get into the Hall of Fame.
Are they going to shrine Bob Lambert with his band? He always rode around in all over the place.
Oh yeah, you're right. He lives out in California.
I wonder if that band's still driving.
I don't know, but I hadn't thought about that, and
that's how you always knew he was around. You see that band.
Exactly right, no question about it. I want to mention also Troy's women's golf team finished second, I believe, in the Sunbelt women's tournament. So that's not bad. Out of 15 teams, that's not bad, is it?
No, I mean I know the women's coach took him to a lot of NCAA tournaments, and he's the head men's coach.
Yeah.
Did he say the men's and the women's coach, or do they hire somebody for the women?
They're going to hire somebody.
When Matt Terry left, I didn't know what they did.
Yeah, they hired somebody for the women, and that's working with the women, and they're doing very well in that sport, no question about it. As Alabama has learned 5 times in the last decade, playing for a national championship can be costly, and says including the bowl bonuses paid out to the football staffs, Alabama Athletic Department bill for the most recent national championship was $7.6 million, Mike. That's pretty stiff, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Of course, we're going to go to our line. Stay with us, Mike. We're going to go to our phones. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Mike, it's Max. How you this morning?
Max Howell. And Max, I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to bring in Mike Amos also. And of course, Mike is with us today. And now we're going from 1 to 1 and 1 to 1. Are you on there? Max, you still on? Hello. I might have lost both of them. Max. Well, hopefully they'll call right back and we'll get it straight. I had this worked out and blew it. I hit the wrong button. Hopefully they'll call right back in. Want to mention also our good friends at Piggly Wiggly, and they've got a great sale going on right now with T-bone steaks, $6.95 a pound if you buy the family pack, and bone-in T-bone steaks are delicious. And we're gonna get Max Howell in here in a few seconds. Max is going to be here this weekend. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Mike, this Max.
Max, that was my fault, and I'm sorry about that. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. And Max, big weekend schedule for you and a lot of your old players.
Mike, I'm excited about the trip. I'm getting ready now. I'm going to drive in. I'll be there around lunch tomorrow. And really excited about the opportunity to see a lot of those guys I haven't seen in a long, long time.
Of course, it's the Hall of Fame weekend, and also the university is inviting back all former football players, and the guest speaker for the event on Friday night, on Friday night is Ace Atkins, the guy you watched grow up.
Mike, I remember very vividly when he was born. I was on the staff at Troy at the time, and of course Doris really already had a daughter, and Ace was born in the family. And what a success story he has become. Really, he has.
Well, Gresham, the great writer who became a billionaire writing books, got his start right there in Oxford, and Ace Atkins has followed right behind him, honey.
He really has, Mike. He really has. He's on the faculty there at Ole Miss, and of course, when I went after I bounced around after I left, before I went back to Ole Miss, recruiting coordinator, and Ace was a senior in high school at Auburn High School, and I actually recruited him to come to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Had him on campus, an official visit, and I think it was down between Ole Miss and Auburn, but I think he really wanted, following his dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
He was quite an accomplished athlete himself. He was an outside linebacker, had really good speed, and certainly. But as soon as he got out of school, man, he took a job, I think, in Tampa first as a writer, as just a reporter, on the street reporter. But after that, his career really blossomed.
I don't know what kind of player he was, but I tell you, he sure was pretty. He was a good-looking football player. I know that. Followed in his daddy's footsteps, didn't he?
He did. He was 6'2", 6'3", about 210, 215 out of high school, could run.
Yeah.
A good academic student, and no problem there. So, I'm proud to get a chance. I haven't seen him in quite a while. I run into him from time to time in his book signings all across North Mississippi. But it's been a year or two since I've even had a chance to visit with him. He and I have corresponded back and forth off of Facebook. But I'm looking forward to having a chance to visit some with him this weekend.
Well, it's going to be great, and I think everybody's definitely excited about it. Of course, something that you are pretty knowledgeable about is this deal with Freeze, the former Ole Miss coach, trying to get the job at Alabama. What happened, Max? Do you know?
Well, Mike, I think what has happened, certainly the black mark against his recruiting policies at Ole Miss kind of in the trouble to begin with. I think where Commissioner Sankey really stepped up was his moral character. I really do believe that, and not the fact is, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. And all of us has probably got some background we don't need to expose. But however, in the position he was in, and the reports that came out of his moral character, I think is what actually stopped him from going back on campus in the Southeastern Conference. How long that will last, I don't know. But the NCAA, they don't delve into that area. Basically, what they did, they stopped him for 1 year. In fact, if he became a head coach, he'd only have to sit out 2 ball games. Where there were several of the assistants, they basically have to show for cause, have to go back before the NCAA committee to get a job.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
There was some discrepancies there in the filing from NCAA, and I think that's what he was using to say, hey, I can get a job. But he was turned down. I mean, SEC turned him down for Missouri and for LSU as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's been a while. And I think he'll probably emerge at a Division II or maybe Division III school to start with, and then try to work himself back into it.
Do you know him personally?
No, I really don't.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Evidently he burned some bridges, and you can't do that.
Exactly, he did, and he held. I think what happened there. Of course, hindsight's 20/20. We know, but looking back in my affiliation, because I was on campus a lot. I was running a website in Oxford, and I had a guy, an employee over there that covered every practice and was with him all the time. He started to distance himself from a lot of people. I think even some administrative people as well, early on, when all this, after 2013, when he had that great recruiting class. I think he felt at that particular time that there was going to be some repercussions from the NCAA. The moral character thing, that we don't know how long that has been going on.
Yeah, you're right.
Me and you both know people a long time. Hugh Freeze didn't wake up one morning with a cell phone and start calling the escort service.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been going on a long time.
Yeah,
it appeared.
No question. And then you and I have talked about this just on the outlook. You just see him coaching football and see him. He looks like a real clean-cut guy and all that. And boy, he turned out he had a locker full of things that he wasn't able to overcome, and hopefully, but again, hopefully, he'll be able to get things right and be back in the coaching.
I think first and foremost, he's got to straighten his personal life out, and I do understand from people that know him much better than I that he's on the route, en route to doing that.
Yeah.
He's drawing in friends that I think can change his personal life, and I think that's the first step.
Yeah.
But here's what the biggest step is, Mike, and you know this. He's got to convince people that he's done that.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. You can't have a track record, a long track record, of living on one side of basically of the moral law, and then convert over immediately to something else. I know it can be done, but I do think he's got an uphill battle in that.
Evidently, he was in demand to have that many opportunities, and of course, he beat Alabama twice, and they can't take that away from him.
Well, I know, Mike, but let's go back and examine how he did that.
With some great players.
How he got the kids here to do that.
Yeah, I know it. Everybody was wondering how in the world those players end up at Ole Miss instead of Alabama, because Alabama recruited all those guys.
Hey, Mike, guess who else wanted that? NCAA wanted that also.
Yeah, I got you. Max Howell is our guest this morning, and he'll be in Troy this weekend. And if you'd like to see him, there's going to be a tent outside the main entrance to the stadium Saturday, where a lot of the old football players are going to gather, and Max will be there. And I know you'd love to see a lot of your old friends, Max.
I really will. There's so many good guys. I came down, Mike, a couple of ball games. You were such a gracious host to have all the guys in, and you do just a great job there. And I'm really anxious to see. This thing has been well promoted.
Yeah.
You and I talked yesterday some, and Judy Morgan, the secretary of the athletic department, had texted me earlier in the week and said by far the best response that they'd ever had.
It is great.
To a ball game, and a lot of that's got to do with Neil Brown and the product they put on the field and the way that the direction the athletic department's headed in also.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of former members of the 1968 National Championship team. But now later on in the year, the second week on September the 8th, Max, you need to go ahead and mark your calendar. We're going to celebrate the 50th reunion of that great team. that
I
68
already
team.
have my hotel reservation. I'll be there for that one.
That's great. And
I can't wait to see some of those guys. I told you last week I had a chance to visit with Andy White.
oh yeah,
He flew in from Dallas over to Birmingham to visit Flynn, and I drove over. We spent the day together. Really, you talk about having a fun time, resharing a lot of memories.
Yeah.
That was a fun day, so I'm excited about that.
you know, Andy from Blakely, Georgia. I think I'm right by that. From Blakely, Georgia. Y'all were sitting. He was sitting in his office. He told me this story. He was sitting in his office. He was a graduate assistant coach,
Right.
and was learning the coach under Atkins, and it was you or Creel or it might have been Atkins himself walked back in the back and said, "Andy, go get you some equipment and be on the practice field."
That was Billy.
I mean, here he was telling a coach to go go get you some equipment and be on the practice field, and so. Because we're out of running backs, we're fixing to play for the national championship, and we're out of running backs.
Did he tell you the rest of the story?
No, he didn't.
Oh, the rest of the story was he couldn't get out of bed for the next 2 days.
Oh, he was so beat up and sore. Yeah.
He was beat up so bad.
No question.
But you know what, Mike? That indicates the quality of kids that we had.
Yeah.
All of them were there for a purpose, certainly to get an education. But we had redirected some in their lives that they had something else to shoot for, and that was to win a national championship.
Yeah, no question about it.
I've talked about that so many times. That was the attitude that Billy Atkins brought to that university.
Yeah.
And it had never been shown there before.
No question about it. It went, and of course, you were there during the heyday. Some of the finest people and some of the best coaches that this country has ever been able to develop happened under the Clipson era at Troy football. I mean, if you wanted to be a football coach, no better place to go than Troy. Isn't that right,
I can guarantee you that's the case. And I've seen the numbers, a percentage of kids that came through that program at that time. I came there in 1960. I'd been at Auburn, transferred there, and I had 2 years of eligibility left, and I played the last 2 years at Troy, and certainly wanted to do that because I wanted to be a football coach.
And you were around, and some of your best friends were Jim Tompkins, of course, a great coach. John Faircloth, great coach.
Absolutely.
And you could just go on and on and on talking about guys that were great coaches that came from that program.
Well, we've said this before. The philosophy at that time, Mike, was to teach you how to coach.
That's right.
It didn't necessarily, the game itself really wasn't that important. It was the skills that you learned. And
your coaches were academic people first. I mean, they were academic guys.
We had 3 PhDs.
Yeah. That's right. If you weren't a doctor, Dr. Rudy Argenti, Dr. Melvin Lucas, Dr. William Clipson.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And you know what? And Clipson couldn't leave the classroom early to go coach either. I mean, I'm sure he got through around 3 or 3 o'clock, and then that's when he started coaching football. Is that right?
And that is right, Mike. And go back and look at the administrative heads at that time. Earl Watson, Dr. Earl Watson was the athletic director, and he brought that philosophy there. And remember, I think we all have to look past go back and see. At that time, they were building the academic side of the university, certainly to draw students. And the football program at that time was that was a byproduct.
Yeah, exactly. Very good in baseball, very good in basketball. I mean, they were good as you could get in those sports, but it took money to build a football program.
I will. Just a side story to that. Obviously, you remember the great Chase Riddle.
Definitely.
His brother was my high school football coach.
Yeah, okay. I remember that.
I came out of that kind of era, but Chase and Ed played at Troy under those same conditions.
Yeah.
They were taught how to coach as opposed to how to win.
Yeah.
And there's somewhat of a difference along the way.
No question about it. Max, we've got Wendell Stevens, who is going to be one of the inductees into the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame on Saturday. He was a great baseball player here. we're going to be talking to him in a few minutes, and you're welcome to stay on with us, or
Love to.
of course, Max will be here, and we'll be up and around all day on Friday, and then of course Saturday, a big event coming to Troy, and that's the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and it's gonna be a lot of fun and a big weekend. We're gonna also have a little gathering, Max, after the Hall of Fame at the Alumni House. We're working on that. We do that every year. They can bring you all of their family and whatever over to the Alumni House and enjoy a very nice party, and we were looking forward to all of that too.
Mike, I will. You and I talked about that a little bit. What crossed my mind at the age of most of that we're getting, I hope most of us can stay awake.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, I'm fixing to put you on hold, and I'll be right back with you.
All right.
Max Howell, we'll put him on hold right now, and we're going to call my good friend. And we're going to make this phone call here to one of the legendary players in Troy University sports history, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is Wendell Stevens.
Hello.
Wendell Stevens.
Hey, Mr.
Are you the man that hit the home run heard around the world at 12 o'clock midnight? How many times have you been reminded of that home run you hit at 12 o'clock midnight from Pattersonville in Montgomery, Alabama? Wendell Stevens hit a grand slam home run against Mankato State.
That was it.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold. I got Max Howell on the other line. I'm going to put you on hold in a second, and I'll be right back with you.
All right.
All right, now let's see here. We've got... Wait a minute, here we go. And, well, let's see here. I go...
Yes, sir, I got you.
All right, okay. Okay, hold on one second. I got to make sure I got my other guy on. All right, hold there. Now we got it. We go conference line. Conference line. All right, we got you, Wendell?
Yes, sir.
All right, have we got you? Let's see if we got...
Yeah.
All right, we got both of you. Got you, Max?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, good. You're on the line, Max. Wendell, I know you know who Max Howell is. Coach Wendell, isn't that right, Wendell?
Yes, sir.
And of course, one of the top sports analysts, in my opinion, in the whole country. And Max, first of all, let me give you a little info on Wendell. Of course, he was an All-American baseball player under a guy you knew pretty well, Chase Riddle.
Very much so. Well, I was just telling Chase's brother Ed was my high school football coach. So
Really?
I've been I go back way years ago as far as
Yes, sir.
athletics department.
That's right. Now he was his brother. Now his brother was your football coach at Troy.
No, at Prattville High School.
It's at the high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Ed and Chase both played at Troy. They were from,
Yeah. Oh,
they were from Georgia.
Yeah, my parents were here at the time.
No question about it. And ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Wendell Stevens, who will be inducted into the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame. Wendell, as far as Troy honoring athletes at Troy, this is about the biggest way we can do it. And congratulations.
Yeah, it's I was proud as I could be to hear that. It's truly an honor, and I'm it's always happy to be honored for something that I really didn't have a whole lot to do with, but other than I was just fortunate to play on two real good teams, and they helped me be successful.
Now, did you play on both national championship teams in '86 and '87?
No, I played in '85 and '86.
Yeah. All right, that team might have been better than the teams that won the national championship, but they lost to Valdosta in the first round. Is that right?
Yeah, that was probably the best team I'd ever seen. We just didn't get the breaks to.
Y'all had beat that same team 11-1 the week before. Is that right?
Yeah, they were a pretty sporty team. They made it through another region, and unlucky enough, we got paired with them in the first game, and they took us to the woodshed.
And Max, they played before the largest crowd ever to see a game at Patterson Field. I mean, it was unreal. It was Troy's first time ever in the World Series in Montgomery. They had been in. You played on a team that were you on the team that played out in California before?
No, that's kind of funny. That's one of the reasons I kind of picked Troy. There was a lot of them, but that was one that I was wanting the opportunity to get to go to California.
Yeah, exactly.
And, as soon as I signed, Robert Earl got the bid for here. So that used to be a saying we had all the time. We go into Montgomery.
Exactly.
We had to get through all the. We had to jump through all the hoops to get there. It wasn't even though we were the host team, but we still had to win to get there, and we did, and it was a blessing for us because I think the whole town turned out. It was a special night, but we kind of laid an egg, and it was nice to get back the next year.
But and then of course the next year,
redeem ourselves for getting blown out.
Yeah, to make history right in '86 and 87, Troy won the national championship.
In '87.
Yeah, Troy won the national championship. But Max, I want you to hear this. So you talk about a storybook, and of course, this is not what made Wendell Stevens, and it is not how he was or why he was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame at Troy, but it's one of them. In what forever will be known as the Grand Slam at midnight, Wendell Stevens etched his name in Troy lore for all time with one powerful swing of the bat. Stevens stepped to the plate in the top of the ninth inning with one out and the bases loaded in Troy's opener in 1986 NCAA Division II World Series against Mankato State. Down to the final strike, and with Troy trailing Mankato State out of Minnesota 6-4, Stevens sent his 12th home run of the season deep into the midnight sky, to give Troy the lead and eventually the national championship. That alone would get most people in the Hall of Fame, but Stevens' credentials keep going. He earned All-Region, third-team All-American in the season prior to and batting .396 with 14 doubles, 12 triples. Wendell, how in the heck did you get 2 triples? Heck, I'm as fast as you are. 15, listen to this, 15 home runs, and then a school record 67 RBIs. And, of course, in 1986 campaign was just as impressive. He hit .387 the next year with 9 doubles, 12 home runs, and 64 RBIs. And, of course, he's the son of 2 Troy graduates. Stevens ranks second all-time in Troy history with a career .391 batting average and .53 base percentage, while ranking third in slugging percentage, 8th in RBIs with 131. That's in 2 years. And 9th in home runs, 2 years, 27, and single season record stood until 1999. And ladies and gentlemen, Wendell Stevens goes into the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame. Hey, does that put chill bumps on your back, Max?
Wow, that's
Hey, you don't even know the guy that puts chill bumps down your back, doesn't it?
I'd love to have a chance.
Hey, I had a good teacher. I tell you, Chase made it easy for me, and you know, had a lot of good teachers coming up, but
You know, in a way, and I
game.
sure hope I don't get emotional here, but in a way, this honors Chase almost as much as it honors you, Wendell.
oh yeah, that he's in there. You know, that's you know, it's just hard to believe I could be, you know, in the same sentence with him. Because I'm gonna tell you, he was something special.
Yeah. You know, I was a big fan of that team that you played on, and boy, it was some great teams and some great rivalries. Troy had a tremendous rivalry with Tampa and with Florida Southern and with Jacksonville State, and even North Alabama was very good back then in baseball. Well, Max, it was as good a baseball as you could watch anywhere. And this guy, I don't know if you understood this, 27 home runs in 2 years. Back then, heck, our team this year, the whole team doesn't have 27 home runs, Wendell.
Well, you know, we had some good baseballs back then, I guess, Mike. I don't know.
You know, back to and of course Chase is one of his best friends on this earth, and his teammate was Mark Smart, the head coach at Troy now. You know, and doing a great job. You know, something Max I didn't make very clear, but this guy hit 387 one year and 396 the next year, right at 400 2 years in a row.
That's unbelievable. It really is.
But
I think what Chase did, Mike, in back to some of our previous conversation was Chase was doing the same thing. They brought talent to the program, and that was something prior to the mid '60s that Troy never did do. I mean, they had adequate talent, I guess, along the way, but that wasn't an emphasis. And Chase Chase had I think wasn't he employed by St. Louis? Cardinals for a number of years.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he was a scout. He was a player scout for them for a long time.
Right. Right.
As well.
So he knew what it took. He knew what talent it took to win at that level.
Yeah.
And I think one of you that another example of some of the great athletes that were brought there later.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to.
That was one thing too, but he could. I'm telling you, he could get the most. You know, whatever it was. You know, whatever level it might be, he could get could get the most out of each of them, and it wasn't the same with each person. You know, he would, you know, whatever this guy could do, if it was just, you know.
He had 3 bats. Now they've probably got 40 bats. He had 3 bats, man. You remember that, Wendell? You didn't have to worry about what bat you're gonna get. You didn't have but 3. You remember that? And it didn't bother Chase. It bothered the heck out of everybody else. It didn't bother Chase at all.
No, there's nothing bothered. Well, we used to love to get when it was the tournament time, because we'd get those pearls out and those good balls, and
yeah.
We love taking. We never got to take bat practice on old wet soggy balls.
He was the easiest coach. Stuart always told me, the AD told me, he was the easiest coach to work for because he never asked for anything.
Well, you know what? I mean, look, I was going to say, I was listening to that conversation, guy. Robert Earl Stewart wouldn't turn the money loose.
Him or Ralph.
I know him well.
Ralph, either one.
Yeah, you're right. But you know, Ralph could.
Ralph Adams, it was tough to get $1 anyway.
You know how Chase got his job? He used to eat fish and play golf with Ralph Adams. You know, when he was in the off season, and Ralph said it wasn't any question about who was going to be the next baseball coach. It was going to be Chase, because Chase loved to dove hunt. You know this, Wendell. He loved to cook fish, and let me tell you the story. Let me tell you a quick story about Chase Riddle, and this will sort of let everybody know what kind of guy he was. You know, y'all used to go to Panama City every spring and play 5 or 6 games. You remember that, Wendell?
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, it would be during the AA holidays, so it would be, you know, spring break. So all your girlfriends and all your buddies all went down to the beach and stayed pretty much in the same hotel.
That's right.
And you played over there at that old ballpark at Gulf Coast, you know.
That's right.
And
Gulf Coast and some of the high schools too.
So one night, when you weren't playing, Chase pretty much let y'all do what you wanted to. You went out and enjoyed the beach and all the parties and all that. And
we can't tell everything.
they said one night Chase went out. Chase back then smoked and went out to smoke a Kent. You remember those Kents? And
right.
and he was sitting, standing out on the balcony, and two girls walked by. They were carrying a big sack. And they were walking down to the rooms where the players were. So Chase said, "Girls, come here. Well, what are y'all doing?" She said, "They said, Coach, we're carrying something to room 127." And he looked in the sack and he saw what was in the sack. He said, "Well, hand them to me." So they gave him the two sacks, and they walked down to room one. He walked down to room 127, and one of the players opened the door, and he said, "Here's your beer. Drink it and go to bed." That's kind of Coach Chase Riddle was. He didn't pour it out. He knew how hard it was to come by, and he told him to drink it and go to bed. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
but he let you be. He let you have fun, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Denial is the first step.
Yeah.
There you go. I've been denying for about 30 years. No.
Of course.
There was. We played about as hard off the field as we did on the field.
There we go.
And guys, you could start running down names, and every one of them were pretty much heroes in their own way. I mean, you came here playing. You were a pitcher, and you were a third baseman. Is that right?
Well, I dabbled with pitching a little bit. I pitched a little more in junior college, but I relieved a little bit in '85, and a couple of times when we had long, 3 or 4 games in a row in '86. But I was about through pitching when I got to Troy, as far as starting or anything like that. But I just played third.
Yeah. Well, of course, they had an All-American catcher who you knew real well. You played against him in junior college. His name was Ray Stevens, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was in '85.
Yeah, '85. Yeah.
And like you said to start with, the '85 team was probably the best team I'd ever seen assembled. Really, at the time. I mean, we
great pitching, didn't you?
We could have held our own with anybody, but had several. Ray, he made it to the 40-man roster a couple times with the Cardinals.
Oh yeah.
Just couldn't quite hit enough.
And then you had your doctor buddy that played first base. Who's that big first baseman you had that was so good?
Dave Banks.
Big Dave Banks, and he's Dr. Dave Banks now. You remember that?
That's right. Yeah, I think he's about 2 or 3 doctors.
All right, Wendell, you've seen
80 years.
Wendell, you've seen a lot of home runs hit, but do you remember that morning that he hit that home run over the tennis courts at Gulf Coast? Do you remember that? That he hit that big home run.
Particularly, that was.
But what I'm saying, he hit tremendous home runs.
Yes, he did. He was good. I mean, he was a good contact hitter too. But he was hit from the left side, and he could swing it. He sure could.
And of course, I hope a lot of these guys will be coming back. Do you expect many of them to come back to the award ceremony this weekend?
The problem is scheduling. The 85 and 86 and 87 team, we've been having reunions, ever since, and we decided when we had our 30th that we was going to pick a game every year, and this year we picked the alumni weekend, which is next weekend.
Yeah, I got you.
So a lot of them's coming. Jude's coming back, Jude Rinaldi.
Oh, boy, he was a great one. Now, he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame one day, don't you think?
Yes, I do. I think his days are numbered as well. I think he's got the stats for it. And he's certainly a good enough player to do it.
Of course, the next year he led Troy to the.
Coming back, we were kind of big hitting buddies. And
now the other thing that sort of my son and I were talking about this morning is that the baseball team with Coach Smart will be on the road, so your good buddy Mark won't be there.
I know. They hate it, but it's just one of them things.
Does it surprise you that he's been such a successful coach? I know you were his teammate.
Not at all. He learned under some good ones. Mark Hogan and over at
Livingston.
He was there for Livingston and West Alabama.
Yeah.
So, and of course under Chase. I think he was ready for it, and he's done a great job, and I think he's going to continue to do that. They didn't call him scrap for nothing.
That's right. Now, he batted 400. I want to say he batted 400 2 years in a row. He deserves to go into the Hall of Fame as a player himself, don't you think?
That's right.
Not just a coach.
But, player and coach.
Yeah.
But
what was the highlight of your career at Troy? I know hitting the home run, and it went to dead center field too. And I hate to say this, Wendell, but my son and all his buddies were still at the ballpark. Game was played during the week, I think, on a Thursday or Friday or something like that. And I had them out that late that night. But how did it feel to hit a home run like that?
That's going to be hard to beat.
I mean, when you're around in the bases, can you remember some of your feelings?
That the year before that we got waxed in front of 6,000.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that feeling like that we can win this thing now. That was the only feeling I can remember. And at the time, the rest of it's kind of blurred, really.
Yeah. Of course, you went on and had a great career, and of course you've never really left Troy since you came here. Isn't that right? You stayed in Troy the whole time, haven't you?
Yes, sir. And
married a Troy girl. You outkicked your coverage.
Yeah, exactly. Married a hometown girl, stayed. But I've been coming here all my life, as my parents are from, and they went to school here, where Granny lived. And
that's right. Yeah.
I've been coming here all my life, so it wasn't a.
In fact, Grady, the late great Grady Stevens, was your uncle. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Jack Stevens, the guy I grew up with and played ball with, was your cousin.
That's right.
And of course.
Jack was my uncle too.
Oh, your uncle too. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a great family, and of course I can still see your mama sitting in the stands. She didn't miss a game, did she?
No. But she, you talking about one of the best memories. Like I said, that home Grand Slam is going to be hard to beat. But she wanted. You talking about her sitting in those stands, and she had cancer at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
She was fighting that, and she came back on her, and she was having a tumor taken out of, and I was going to miss the game, and it was brain. To me, it was brain surgery. It wasn't really in her brain, but it was in her skull, and they was going to have to open her up and take it out or whatever. And she told me to hit her home run that night. She didn't know what she was doing, but that was I was worried about whatever, and at that time it was kind of a scary thing, and so anyway I hit one that night, and I got to go down and tell her that. That was kind of a big moment in my.
Oh, I know it was. The great Wendell Stevens.
Everything was fine. She was waiting on me, and so, but that was kind of a good thing too.
Back in those days too, you know, I didn't necessarily. I knew all the players, but I knew all the parents too. You know, Mark Smart's parents were sitting up there by your parents most every game, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know.
And what I'm saying, it was one big happy family. You had Joe Dotson and Helton Fowler taking care of all the needs that Chase had to have. Is that right?
That's right. The Mafia. Yeah.
Yeah, I told that story of the Mafia yesterday, and boy, that Mafia had a huge impact on that team, didn't it?
That's right. Yep. And the opposing team mainly.
This was a group of older men, ladies and gentlemen, and Chase was coaching third base one day, and the sun down at third base line, you know how tough it was because you played third base. That sun get to you, wouldn't it? And Chase looked up there, and he said all he could see was a bunch of old men with sunglasses on. He said they looked like the Mafia, and and from that day on, they were called the Mafia.
That's right. That was a good name for them too, because they were rough.
And every one of them were great fans. They didn't miss a game, and you know, and when one would die, everybody would go to the funeral. I mean, it was just a great group of people.
Yeah, that was good time.
Wendell, you could have gone a lot of places. I know you were recruited pretty heavy by everybody out of junior college. Was Troy the good decision for you?
Yeah, it's you know, it's amazing the different at that time in your life. Amazing, you know, the different roads you could take to change your whole life, and I'm just proud to. Good Lord made me take the right road.
Max, let me tell you something he does now. He plays golf. He's one of the best amateur golfers in this part of the country. And one of his best buddies is Boo Weekley, who plays on the tour. Are you familiar with him?
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, you know, greatness, you know, kind of attracts each other, Wendell.
That's great. Is Boo gonna be here, or has he got a tournament?
He's injured right now.
Oh, is he? I was wondering where he was.
Yeah, he hadn't. I think this year's first one's going to be the TPC in Louisiana. I think that's where he's striving for. But he's
yeah, okay.
No, he's not going to be here.
Have you ever met Bubba Watson? Did you know Bubba Watson through Boo?
No, well, he was a lot younger.
Yeah.
He's a lot younger than we are, but or even Boo. But he played at Milton. I mean, I've seen him at some of the tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't really know him.
Yeah. Of course, all of those guys were, used to come up here and play golf in Troy, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where I met him.
Yeah.
Actually.
They come up here and play in these 4-ball tournaments. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that and any of them. He played in all of them when he was younger. He's about 10 years younger than me, and that's where I met him through that the barbecue circuit, as we call it.
Yeah, I got you. Well,